Hello, this is Curtis, and welcome to another episode of No Place Like Home, a podcast and diary entry where I explore life, lessons, love, relationships, trials, and tribulations, but always finding the joy. For this diary entry, for this episode, I want to talk about the power of fasting. I want to talk about dying to the flesh. I want to talk about taking a step back from things that may bring you joy, that are soothing, that are oftentimes, if we're being honest, are cover-ups, right? And so right now, I am currently on a 40-day fast from Instagram. Now, I can't remember which day of the fast it is, but what I can say, what I can say is that, if you have an iPhone, you know that the iPhone will do this sort of weekly screen time data for you. It'll do an analysis for you, right? And since in just a week, right? Not having Instagram on my phone, which means not going on Instagram, my pickup time, which is like the number of times I pick up my phone to use it for different reasons, has gone down almost 80%. That's insane, right? And I also say that to say that I hold space and grace for myself because I'm an entrepreneur. And if you're an entrepreneur listening to this, you understand that you need your phone, right? Like your phone is your tool. It's your resource, right? And so I do give myself grace knowing that number was obviously was a lot larger, maybe a couple of weeks ago. But it is so wonderful to know that whether I know it or not, I've been a lot more present in my body, right? What I can say is that I've been feeling a lot of clarity. And I know people say that all the time. And I want to be clear that the clarity I've been feeling is around my feelings and emotions, right? It hasn't just been mental clarity because, not to toot my own horn, but I do have a routine that I follow daily. And it helps me. I'm far from perfect. And of course, I still get in my head. But I do have a routine that takes pretty good care of me. And so, but this is different. This has been different because I've been really present in the way that I feel. And just for context, when we're on social media, we are experiencing the feelings of a lot of people all at once, right? And so I think about it this way. You are going through your own things, whatever that is, good or bad, in between. And then you get on this app and now you have come in contact with the emotions and feelings of hundreds, thousands of people in a matter of seconds, in a matter of minutes, right? And so that can be daunting to the spirit, whether we know it or not. And for the last 2 weeks that I've been on this fast, I have really been able to go, oh, this is how I feel right now. I feel tired, so I'll take a nap. I feel excited, so I'm going to call someone. And I'm not just going to call someone because I can, but because I know that they are going to continue the joy that I'm feeling, right? They're going to nurture the good energy that I've already produced by myself, right? I think that's another thing that I'm noticing, that I truly am able to produce the feelings that I want to feel every day, that I don't have to be socially engaged with someone else or a group of people, or specifically be on an app to feel like I'm having a good time, to feel like I have something to say, which brings me to also another part. Something I've noticed is that I'm already naturally an introvert, but something I've noticed is that not being on the app has made me even more intentional about speaking to people, which is crazy because if someone knows me, they know that I'm super intentional already. But there is something to be said about how being on applications, being on apps makes us think that we need to talk all day. It makes us think that we need to engage all day when that is not true, right? And so there have been days where I don't speak at all, where I don't utter a word. And if I do, maybe it's like at the grocery store, right? Being polite or walking down the street. But in terms of like full conversations, there have been some days where I'm not talking. I'm not engaging in long conversations with people. And it's been really beautiful. And of course, as you can imagine, that space has allowed me to hold more space for God, right? And so I hear more, I think more, I organize more, right? And again, I'm speaking of organizing my thoughts because I want to share that I recently moved into a new apartment. I moved into my first loft apartment, and it is all through God. And I think there has to be something to be said about it happening during my fast. Now, I didn't fast to get my home, right? I think that I can confidently say I was being obedient and disciplined prior to receiving the good news of my new place. But I 1000% know that the Lord is paying attention to the way that I am showing up in this season, that I am dying to my flesh, and that I am choosing to give something up to gain much more, right? And when I speak of dying to the flesh, again, it just means not always giving your body what it wants. And in true transparency, another thing I would like to share is that during this fast, I have not been watching porn, right? And so there was a time that I had a very terrible relationship with it. And over the years, it has gotten better. I will admit that it has become something that I engage with because of pleasure, right? I think that we should all indulge and enjoy pleasure, right? I think that's something that we should experience, but I do think that it should be done intentionally, consensually, obviously, and not run your life, right? And so that's why you'll hear a lot of people say, die to your flesh. And that is also something, shout out to all the men listening, but semen retention is something that is very widely promoted and talked about amongst men on YouTube. And there's power in us holding our seed. There is power in men, in anyone, but specifically men. I'm a man. There is power when men, we can have discipline and we can have obedience when it comes to our body and particularly our seed. And I'm no scientist, but there is a confidence and boldness that comes from discipline. And that's another part of my fast that I'm experiencing. And I'll admit, I think there are certain times where I'm realizing that my body and mind are getting reacquainted. That is the thing about discipline. That is the thing about obedience, is that when you aren't in alignment, your mind and body are not working together, which causes us to oftentimes make poor decisions, right? And so this fast has really reacquainted my mind, body, and spirit to one another, right? And so if you're listening and maybe you've been thinking about fasting, maybe you've been wanting to give it a try, I encourage you to do it. Do it in your own way. Decide what you want to give up. It could be anything, really. You know what I mean? We all have our different needs and desires and things that maybe we're addicted to, maybe things that we engage with too much, you know? Maybe it is Instagram for you as well. I encourage you to try to take a break. I encourage you to try to take a fast and step away. It does not have to be for 40 days like me, but I do want you to know that you have the opportunity to create a large sense of clarity that maybe you have been missing and been trying to find. And I think I want to end there. I feel like that is a cliffhanger, but that is really all I have to say about this. And of course, always comment and Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you're thinking about fasting. Let me know anything that you've learned through fasting in the past. And as always, I thank you for listening. I thank you for trusting my story and respecting my story. And yes, I'll see you in the next episode of this podcast, of this diary that I am building in my mid-30s. Again, thank you for watching. I love you as always, and I'll see you next time. Peace.